Hi guys, this is Tablet-News.com and I'm here with a new tablet. It's called the Redmi Pad Pro and we're here for a review. We have two accessories. We have this Redmi Smart Pen, which doesn't attach to it magnetically and also charges via USB-C. And also we have the Redmi Pad Pro keyboard, which is priced close to $100. So yes, it's quite pricey to make this tablet into a sort of laptop. So I'm going to focus on these accessories towards the end of the review, but now it's the start, so let's get going. The price of the tablet is around 300 euros, which is quite affordable for the European market. It's made of metal. It comes with a decent set of cameras, quad speakers, and a pretty large screen. There's also Dolby Vision and other goodies here, as well as a processor which, believe it or not, can handle its own when it comes to, well, gaming. Okay, now aside from that, I think it's time to address this tablet, which also comes with a 5G version. We have here only the Wi-Fi version, just so you know. So let's get to the design. It's got an aluminum unibody build with enough room for your thumbs on the sides when you're gaming or watching videos. It's got Gorilla Glass T protection at the front side and every side is flat. The back is flat, the sides are flat. The buttons are put in a comfy manner when you're holding the device in landscape, but it's also rather comfy when you're using it like this vertically if you want to scroll endlessly on TikTok or, YouTube. When it comes to the measurements, it weighs 571 grams and measures 7.5 millimeters in thickness, which is no record, but it's quite decent. Your hand may get a bit tired when using the device with a single hand, but I would say it's pretty much a dual hand affair. So grippy, well built, nothing to object about, and the keyboard is also comfy, but more about that later. The display you're seeing right here, it's of the IPS LCD variety and it's a 12.1 incher. It can show 68 billion colors, has Gorilla Glass 3 protection and a generous resolution of 2560 over 1600 pixels. Dolby Vision, 120 Hz refresh rate and 600 nits of brightness. We also have a video test here for you, a clip prepared for you to show what the screen can do. So we have satisfying colors which are pretty well calibrated, well, not as vivid as the OLEDs, while the view angles are, I would say, decent, but not the widest I've seen on a tablet, considering it's more of a mid-range offering. Decent behavior in sunlight, although it's more of an indoor affair than an outdoor one. In full sunlight, you may encounter some problems with it when it comes to brightness and contrast. So yeah, there's that. Speaking of brightness, contrast and such things, we also did a measurement and let's see what came out of that. So we go here. And the Redmi Pad Pro in our lux meter test achieved 478 lux units. Now, it's definitely not impressive, but also not underwhelming. Anything past 400 lux is good enough for use in sunlight. I mean, it's above the Xiaomi Pad 5 and the Huawei Mate Pad Pro, an older one, the first gen, but it's below the likes of iPad 10 2022 and Huawei Mate Pad 11.5. Obviously, there's quite a few settings for this screen. So if you go here, you go to the display and brightness, you got screen brightness, auto brightness, a special sunlight mode. You can tweak the color scheme to vivid, saturated or standard. You got adaptive colors and a color temperature palette. There's a reading mode and a refresh rate mode. You can set your custom refresh rate from here, or you can set it default, which tweaks it to the situation and application. I'm pretty satisfied with the screen, considering you're only paying 300 euros for the tablet. And now we should go inside the device, where you can find more specs here in the About section. This slate comes with a Qualcomm processor, which is actually good news. Qualcomm Snapdragon 7S Gen 2 octa-core 4 nanometers with the Adreno 710 GPU. If you feel like you've seen this processor before, it's available on the Poco Pad, the Redmi Note 13 Pro 5G smartphone, Motorola H50 Fusion, and the Realme 12 Pro Plus. It's accompanied by 6 GB of RAM, but you can expand the RAM with a special RAM boosting feature, and the storage is 128 GB, which is not bad. Believe it or not, there's also micro SD, which is always good news, and the device doesn't overheat, and it also handles pretty much all the tests like a champ. So we have here quite a few benchmarks which we did on this tablet, including GFX Bench and quite a few others. Once again, it can handle games pretty well without overheating, and when it comes to the benchmarks, we can go here and learn more. So this is on 2 to 10. We're just above the Huawei MatePad 11.5S and the Galaxy Tab S9 FE Plus, which is definitely a compliment. While in the same time, in Geekbench 6, we're above the Blackview Tab 11 Wi-Fi, but below a few other models like the Galaxy Tab S9 FE Plus and Xiaomi Pad 6 Pro, which we tested recently, by the way. If you're curious, have a look at that review. In the AI benchmark, we're just above the lowest rung of tablets, so yeah, not very good for AI. And when it comes to 3D Mark, believe it or not, it's quite decent, but only compared to mid-range tablets like the Huawei MatePad 11.5 and Galaxy Tab S9 FE Plus. I would say it can handle games pretty well, even shooters, and without overheating. When it comes to the battery, it's already typical to see on devices like this one a large generous battery. We have a 10,000 mAh unit with 33 watt charging, and let's see if it delivers. Sadly, not quite. So 8 hours and 8 minutes of video playback. We definitely want more here. It may be above the Xiaomi Mi Pad 2, but that's an older model, and above the Chewy Hi 12, also not the highest end tablet in the world. It's below the Galaxy Tab S7 Plus and below the Huawei MatePad 11.5s. Next up, we have the continuous usage. Here, once again, not very impressive, 6 hours and 33 minutes. It's above the Teclast X98 Plus tablet generation 2 and above the Onda OBook 20 Plus. Those are lesser known brands from China. Once again, I expected a bit more here. We're below the Galaxy Tab S6 Lite and below the Xiaomi Pad 5, and we definitely require more. Let's see if the charging is fine. After 1 hour and 43 minutes, you should get from 0 to 100%. So yeah, there's that. And after 30 minutes of charging, let's see what happens. 30% charge only, so it wouldn't have hurt to have a faster charging here, if I'm being honest. At least there are battery saver feature and battery protection features, which are good enough for me, which may expand battery life about an hour or two or maybe more. On the fun side of things, we have stereo speakers, so you can see here cutouts for 2 speakers here and another 2 here, plus even an audio jack makes the cut. And you can see the inscription is Dolby Atmos. We even have some tweaks in the settings. And now let's listen to some tunes and draw some conclusions. Now let's listen to a music sample. Okay, so as usual, a pleasant surprise from Xiaomi when it comes to the speakers on the tablets. Very, very loud, pretty okay bass, nice high notes and nice voice, no distortion, but maybe keep it at 70-80%. If it gets too loud, it gets a bit unpleasant. The back of the tablet vibrates quite a bit. That's something that usually happens on slim metal devices. We did some measurements here and we can tell you how many decibels we achieved. So yeah, we achieved 92.2 decibels at the top and 93.3 decibels at the bottom, making this a top 3 device. It beats basically all Samsung tablets we've tested, even flagships, Galaxy Tab S7, S8 Ultra and the works, and it scores below the Huawei MatePad Pro. When it comes to gaming, Asphalt 9, 90.3 decibels, it's above the Cube iWork 10, Huawei MatePad Pro 13.2, but below Nokia T21 or Galaxy Tab A8 from 2021. So we've heard louder, but it's definitely in the middle of our top. Okay, so that's the acoustic part of things. Once again, we do have an audio jack, which is something unusual nowadays. Now we can talk about the camera. As usual, we don't focus too much on cameras on these devices. I can tell you we have an 8 megapixel camera at the backside with LED flash. And I can also tell you we have a front 8 megapixel camera for your, I would say, selfies and video call needs. That's all you need to know. Now, when it comes to the interface, options are pretty straightforward. You got your document capture here, you got your video here. You can work with Full HD or 1080p. You have a teleprompter feature, which is always welcome. There's a photo section here with some extras like aspect, AI camera, tilt shift. We also have a night mode even and a short video mode. You can even add a sort of song or a background. That's pretty much it. I expect it to be at the level of a Redmi Note 12 or something like that. Not better than that or even below that model. Now, this is the camera. Once again, I don't like taking pictures with large devices, so I'm not promoting that in any way. However, if need arrives, you have a camera with flash at the back. When it comes to connectivity, the device provides you with Wi-Fi 6, Bluetooth 5.2. Sadly, there's no GPS here and no NFC. We do have an USB-C 2.0 port here, and there's a version out there with 5G, which is welcome. We also did a speed test. Let's actually find it. And the results we achieved are not exactly bad. Okay, so we achieved up to 571 mega per second in download and 583 mega per second in upload. That's on Wi-Fi. And finally, we can talk about the software. It's HyperOS on top of Android 14. Now, I'm using swipes to trigger the multitasking area. When I say multitasking, I can also mean the fact that you can split the screen into, let's maybe try that again. So, keep it pressed, do this, and you're going to have half of the screen with YouTube and half of the screen maybe with Chrome, so you can do your web browsing, read some news about tablets while you're watching a video or listening to music. So yeah, that's the thing you're going for here. You can also change windows among themselves, enlarge one, decrease one, or relegate one to being at the bottom of the taskbar here. You can also have them open readily in the taskbar. There's a news feed here in the leftmost screen. And to be honest, all the widgets here remind me of the ones from MIUI. They haven't evolved that much. Swipe down from the right, you have the quick settings. Swipe down from the left, you have the notifications. We have here the main settings of the device. You have the About Tablet, have special features for tablet like floating windows, which is good for multitasking. Split screen combination. You can have floating windows above the split screen. You have conference tools with Beautify subtitles and other features during audio and video calls, good for conferencing, and parallel windows, which once again are good for multitasking. There is the security area, there is the interconnectivity and connectivity. Interconnectivity is all about working together with Xiaomi phones and Xiaomi watches, have a shared clipboard, share notifications, and more. These are other connectivity options. You can see there's Miracast here. These are the lock screen features, notifications and status bar, sound, wallpaper and personalization. There are quite a few options here. If you want extra security, you can activate face lock. There's no fingerprint scanner here, unlike the previous Xiaomi tablet we've tested. We have privacy protection, digital well-being, and that's about it. Now it's time to talk about the stylus and keyboard. Let's take them one by one. So this is the stylus from Redmi. Doesn't attach magnetically to the device, it's connected via Bluetooth. It has an USB-C port here. It charges from 0 to 100% in about 40 minutes. It has a button for writing and a button for screenshots. Okay, so things are pretty straightforward. If you want to start writing, you press it and keep it pressed, the button here, and I can tap the screen to start writing. You can open the Mi Canvas and either write something like hello, or maybe even start drawing things in a variety of colors with a variety of brushes available. That's the small version of the app. You can have it closed and open later. You also have a button for screenshot, which is the bottom button. I know it sounds weird to say it. And here you can start over, share, edit. You can write on your screenshots, you can edit them, you can save them, you can change their shape if you want to, or have the whole screen screenshotted. Once again, it sounds weird. Okay, and the stylus also has some options here. You can see that you can write with it, you can take a screenshot. When you actually start using it, you can either opt for the note-taking application, which is called Notes. You can start typing, you can write, delete, select, insert, join or split, new line. These are basically gestures that allow you to interact with the text. So this is strictly for note taking. You can see that we have headline options here, bold, italic, underline, and so forth. And once again, I can start typing on the keyboard if I want to, or I can just draw lines or write text. And I can even have the text converted. Let's see, for example, if I write something like writing, my horrible handwriting is recognized and it says writing here. So this hand recognition, that's the note-taking application. There's also Mi Canvas, and Mi Canvas is, as you probably know already, all about drawing. People who definitely draw better than me can also edit pictures from the holidays, draw something like this, not just doodles, proper artwork. Okay, and you can go here and you can see the variety of brushes. You have your pens, you have their pencils, you have their markers. These are the colors you can use. You also have sliders, saturation, lightness, opacity, and more. You can also use a ruler to draw above it or below it, and that's just part of the whole stylus interaction. Okay, now the keyboard. The keyboard, I have to admit, is quite pricey. It doesn't have a trackpad, and for $100 I think you can find other Bluetooth keyboards which offer more. Now, I should probably mention that the keys are rather rigid. They're not exactly as soft as I would have expected them to be. The keyboard, the tablet is placed like this here. The connection happens via Bluetooth. It props up like this using a magnet. And I have to admit that yes, I wrote on it decently fast, so maybe let's try this. Open this, open a new document, and hey guys, I am writing a brand new review. Okay, so the keys are more rigid than usual. They're not soft as it happens on some other tablets out there. They're pretty decently spaced and have a decent amount of travel. We also have some options for the shortcut keys. Of course, you can do this if you want to go back to the desktop. You can also do this to see your multitasking needs. And you have some settings for the whole experience, which are found here. Keyboard. You have custom shortcuts. You can see them here. Shift A, Shift L, Shift D. Excuse me, not exactly Shift, but I would say the Windows button if it were Windows. Redmi keyboard can be set to use certain languages, and you also have cursor styles. That's pretty much it in a nutshell, and don't forget the 3 dots for multitasking. Once again, when I say rigid keys, I'm talking about keys that resemble more a keyboard from a desktop rather than a laptop or a typical tablet. And by the way, this accessory, the Redmi Pad Pro keyboard, also protects the device like this. So yeah, double roll. But for 100 bucks, I consider it to be a bit too much. Okay, so now we're at the part of the review where we check out the pre-installed applications. Obviously, security is here to take care of everything. There's a cleaner here, battery, deep clean, privacy. There's even Game Turbo for gamers. And so much more. Okay, there are gaming profiles, there are resource distributions here, there's a recorder for your voice needs, there's a whole suite of Google applications and more. Find device, files, safety and more. Of course, I have File Manager from Xiaomi itself. There's Booking.com and Netflix pre-installed, YouTube Music. Fitbit is also pre-installed by Google for a while now. And that's pretty much it. I don't think I forgot anything. So, in a core, I would have definitely liked this to be placed here with magnets and charging for the tablet, but it doesn't. I think it's time for the verdict now related to the Redmi Pad Pro. And by the way, I want to show you this. The keyboard has a USB-C port here for charging. Okay, so now the pros and cons. On the pro side, the tablet has a solid build and a pretty okay display in my book when it comes to gaming and Netflix watching. The processor is rather good, no throttling, and it runs games like a champ. I should probably also mention the fact that we have powerful speakers. There's 4 of them with Dolby Atmos. You can do some nifty multitasking here. We have a comfy keyboard and comfy stylus, and there's also a 5G version out there. On the cons side, the stylus is not magnetic. It's pricey as well as the tablet. The tablet is not as bright in the sun as you'd like it to be. The battery is not very impressive. And well, they need USB-C charging, both of them, the keyboard and the stylus. And there's no charger in the box, and the charging is rather slow. In the end, for 300 euros, the tablet itself is quite a good deal for gaming and watching videos. But if you want productivity, you're going to have to spend 100 euro more for the keyboard and something like 50 euros for this one. So the price definitely increases. However, if you already own other Bluetooth keyboards, you can connect them to the tablet with ease, and there will be zero problems in your usage. At the end of the day, it's not as multimedia creation inclined as the Xiaomi Pad 6s Pro. It's more towards multimedia consumption, maybe for the amateur drawer and some note-taking for students during classes. But only for a student budget. You're probably going to skip this keyboard and get a basic one, Bluetooth one, and I'm very curious about the compatibility with other styluses aside from this one, which we have to, once again, charge. That's it from us. This is the review of the Redmi Pad Pro from Tablet-News.com, Wi-Fi version. Goodbye.